To Dr. Brzezinski, I can't say enough about his contribution to our country.
U.S. National Security Advisor Brzezinski flew to Pakistan to set about rallying resistance. He wanted to arm the Mujahideen without revealing America's role. On the Afghan border near the Khyber Pass, he urged the soldiers of God to redouble their efforts.
We know of their deep belief in God, and we are confident that their struggle will succeed. That land over there is yours. You'll go back to it one day because your fight will prevail and you'll have your homes and your mosques back again because your cause is right and God is on your side.
The purpose of coordinating with the Pakistanis will be to make the Soviets bleed for as much as long as possible.
Welcome back. It would be difficult to think of any two men in U.S. history who have had more experience in foreign policy than my next guest. Henry Kissinger was National Security Advisor and Secretary of State during the Vietnam War and President Nixon's historic trip to Communist China. ZBIG Brzezinski was the National Security Advisor during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and the Camp David talks between Israel and Egypt. And they're still involved today. Secretary Kissinger is supporting the campaign of John McCain. Dr. Brzezinski is supporting the campaign of Barack Obama.
You know that we have people that think about the conspiracy theories of people like you. You would be a poster child for these people because you have served on the board of the Council on Foreign Relations. You helped start the Trilateral Commission, and you've been to the Bilderberger groups.
Well, yes, I haven't done those for years, so that's partial redemption, I suppose. But otherwise, yes.
But what is belonging to all those groups? We talked about the Trilateral Commission when you were here in 1989. But what about the association with that? Are people too close in this world? People in business too close to the governments?
Well, you know, there is such a thing as insidious influence. And the question is, how does it operate? Does it involve bribery? And does it involve some sort of psychological domination? I don't believe in this notion of some sort of secret societies controlling people. But of course, in any political system, there are sort of over-the-table and under-the-table arrangements. As far as the organizations that you have mentioned, they're all on top of the table organizations. We know what they are. We know what they do. We probably exaggerate their influence in many cases. But most important of all, they operate overtly. Anybody who wants to know what the Council on Foreign Relations does can very easily find out. And once that person finds out, they'll probably discover that it really doesn't run the world, but often makes very useful recommendations. For example, you know, we're all confronting the problem of Iran. Well, I don't know, maybe this will reinforce the conspiracy theories, but 2 years ago, I co-directed a study on U.S. policy towards Iran for the Council on Foreign Relations. I think still a very good study. I said I co-directed. Who was the other co-chairman? Robert Gates, currently the Secretary of Defense. Now, on the one hand, maybe that reinforces the conspiracy theory, that somehow or other we're pulling the strings from behind the scene. But alternatively, maybe it tells you something, namely that this is an open process. Anyone can get those recommendations, read them, know what they are, can assess them, whether they stand the test of time or not. I think that's all to the good.
That you and your wife are in the globalist CFR, which is a Council on Foreign Relations, and I'd like to know if that is true, and also I'd like to know where you stand on the North American Union, which has been confirmed recently in the press. Ron Paul actually spoke about it, and the Congress has actually spent some money on it. This North American Union involves a union much like the European Union, only with Canada, Mexico, and the United States, and the possible merging of the money system into a piece called the Amero, which would actually strip the United States of some of its sovereignty and perhaps our rights. Where do you stand on that?
Well, first of all, I'm not... The Council on Foreign Relations, I don't know if I'm a official member. I've spoken there before. It basically is just a forum where a bunch of people talk about foreign policy. And so there's nothing, there's no official membership. I don't have a card or, you know, a special handshake or anything like that. In terms of this North America, union, this has been something I know Ron Paul's talked about and people have been talking about. I have to say, with all due respect, that I see no evidence of this actually taking place. I think this has been something that has been ginned up in certain blogs and the internet. It was based partly on the fact that there's this highway being built in Texas that will facilitate more transportation and travel between Mexico and the intercontinental United States on up through Canada, and so people have perceived that this potentially means that somehow there's going to be this union like the European Union. There's no evidence that that's taking place. NAFTA helped to break down barriers of trade between those three countries, and I was opposed to NAFTA because I thought that it didn't have the labor and the environmental standards and the safety standards that would look out for U.S. workers. But I don't think that there's some conspiracy to create this one, continental government between Canada and Mexico. I see no evidence of that. All right? Okay, next. He is one of our most outstanding scholars, one of our most outstanding thinkers. He has proven to be an outstanding friend and somebody who I've learned an immense amount from. And for him to support me in this campaign and then be willing to come out here to Iowa is a testimony to his generosity. So if everybody could please give Dr. Brzezinski another round of applause.